Let's use the word clearly. Okay. There are data visualizers out there who write about the 5 second rule as well. I don't necessarily believe in it all the time, but and I've read about this quite a lot. It's called the 5 second rule. The 5 second rule states that any chart that you create it shouldn't take your reader more than 5 seconds to figure out what's happening. If it's taking more than 5 seconds, then it's poorly designed, it's confusing. So I don't necessarily believe in that, and that's because I don't necessarily believe in rules as far as data visualization is concerned, right? Because the moment you introduce rules into something, then you're stopping creativity and innovation, right? You're thinking within that box. So I always tell people, yes, learn the rules, right? So there are some rules for data visualization. Learn the rules, but you learn the rules so that you can break the rules, right? And that's how you get creative with data visualization. There have been times when I've been told that you shouldn't put something on this axis, and I've been like, you know what? Let's break that rule and see what happens. Let me put it on that axis and see what happens. And then when I've done it, it actually kind of works. It's like, wow, you know what? I'm so glad that I tried it. Because if I would have listened to that advice of not following that rule, I probably would not have come up with this. And so now what I've done is I've kind of successfully innovated there, right? I've come up with something new. Okay. So that's about the library of charts. Now, charts can be as complex as you want them to be. Usually, the ones that are created for marketing, infographics, that kind of stuff, those are pretty complex. This one, this one is very recent. I made this like a couple of weekends ago, and I made this over a weekend. I started on Saturday morning, and then I ended on Sunday night, pretty late on Sunday night, but I managed to do this. Here's another one that I created. Again, pretty complex. This is for marketing material. So yeah, the charts that we want to create are, of course, in the corporate world, we want them to be simple, like I mentioned, the 5 second rule. Okay, let's take an example here. All right, so you've got, wait, let's not take this example. Hold on, let me show you. Okay, let me show you this example here. So you've got, let's say there are these 5 products, all right, in that data table there. So you've got fluid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you've got some numbers, I don't know, so let's say it's revenue or sales, all right? So you've got the aggregated sales for that year, 2018, and then you've got this the same metric for 2019, okay? So compare the sales for each product and identify which ones have done better compared to the previous year. Now, this is a very tiny data set. It's just 5 products. And just for the ease of simplicity, right? For the sake of simplicity, for the sake of ease, I've put in 5 products here, and you can imagine what will happen. It's like if there are more than 5 here, right? So I'm going to visualize this in the most, I don't know, the easiest way that I can think of, right? That one size fits all approach. So I'm thinking that, hey, you know what? I don't really know what to do with this. Let's just insert a bar chart and see what happens. So that's what we typically end up doing. That's the approach that we follow, right? So we've inserted a bar chart. Now, the problem with the bar chart is that when you're trying to make sense of it, right? So when you look at it for the first time, it's not very easy to make that comparison. So what are we doing in a bar chart? We're actually looking for differences. First of all, you're looking for differences. The second thing you're doing is you're looking for the intensity of that difference then, right? So number one, you're looking for difference. Number two, you're looking at the intensity of that difference. And number three, you're looking at, in which direction is that difference and that intensity, right? Is it left to right? Is it right to left? So which bar in that pair, right? So you've got these 5 pairs. So which one's higher, which one's lower, and by how much? Okay. So essentially what you're doing is you're looking at this, you're looking at the tip of the bar and the edge of the bar rather, and you're comparing the edge of the bar with the edge of the bar next to it in that pair, right? And so if you're doing this, then isn't this kind of a chart better? It's essentially the same thing. Basically what you're doing is you're looking at the slopes. If you're looking at the slopes, then why not just use a slope chart? And that's the name of the chart. This chart is called a slope chart. And this is a default Excel chart, okay? And I'm just going to take a pause from that topic of the slope right now. I'm just going to talk about a little bit about the default chart, any sort of default chart, right? Power BI, whatever, Tableau, Excel. That's not where it ends, by the way. When you insert the chart, is not when the journey ends. It's actually where the journey begins, right? Because there's some simple stuff that you can do. Once you've inserted the chart, that's not the end of it. There is some simple stuff that you can do. It's a little bit more of an investment in terms of time. but it's very, very helpful. That's what will make your chart go from good to great. So when you do some simple formatting with this kind of a chart, you can actually come up with something like this, right? And what I've done is I've just, added a few lines. I've played around with the fonts and the typeface or the typography. I've played around with the colors a little bit. But now you see how that message is coming out, right? So clear, very effective, very easy to understand, and a lot better than the bar chart to read, right? So readability is improved like pretty massively here, right? And you can now see what those products are. The two products which are, not so much change. One product diving, and two products are kind of, going up. Okay, especially fluid one, like going up pretty massively. So this is what the slope chart is used for. So this is a scenario where you've got one metric, you've got just 2 periods of time. Those 2 periods of time could be 2 quarters, 2 months, 2 years, 2 weeks, whatever, any 2 time periods. And one metric and many categories of data. So when these 3 conditions are fulfilled, the slope chart works very effectively. And by the way, very popular chart. Huh? This is used, it's a very legit chart used by data visualizers in, PowerPoints, dashboards, whatever. Okay. All right. So let me just give you a couple of tips quickly, and then we can end the session. Right. I wanted to keep some time for questions, so I'll just take about maybe 4 or 5 minutes more. Okay. Oh, sorry. Are there some audio issues? I'm just about reading the chat now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. This is. Oh, is it just one person who's unable to hear, or is it everyone?
I'm able to hear fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to carry on then. So you've got so the pie chart. The pie chart is something that I already spoke about, right? I'll give you one tip on one of these charts. Okay. So the pie chart, of course, is something that looks like this, right? So now the pie chart here has how many categories? It's got how many slices? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You've got one pie with 6 categories of data, right? Now the problem with the pie chart is the angles, okay? Because basically how you're reading this, how you're deciphering this is your mind tries to convert the angles into the data that it's kind of encoding, right? When you have multiple angles in a pie chart, the human brain can't process that very effectively, right? It increases cognitive load, and so one of the alternatives here, and there are quite a few alternatives to the pie chart. This is one of my favorite ones, right? Is to do something like this, and this only comes from these are these tried and tested techniques, right? So this technique is called the small multiples technique. Okay, very handy, very effective. I use this all the time, yeah. So, and it's so much easier to read also. Basically, what we've done is now each slice is easier to compare. It's because technically now they all start from a common point. They have a common baseline, which is 12 o'clock, right? So this one is very clear. You can just quickly scan all 6, and you can easily make out without data labels, mind you, without data labels. Okay, you can easily see which one's bigger, which one's smaller, and so on and so forth, right? Comparisons become very, very clear, right? So this is called the small multiples technique. Okay, I'm just going to skip the next one and show you. Okay, I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. I wanted to show you a couple of more examples of charts. Sharing, and I'm glad you said without data labels. Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah, so data labels themselves become so tricky, right? So this is the thing about data visualization. It's always about the small stuff. Yeah? It's the smallest of things that make the biggest of differences. I'll give you an example. Okay. And I'm sorry, I know we are a little short on time. I wanted to cover 1 or 2 more, but no, okay, no worries. I'll still show you some interesting stuff here. Okay.